Hello and welcome to the Rippling Pages. This is the podcast where you can rely on writers to get real about writing. It's me, Liam Bishop, curating your taste of talented and unique voices. Now, what happens when memories from the past start to mingle with those in the present? What happens when we haven't confronted the guilt from childhood? What lessons can a diverse London community tell us about living and loving? These are the questions at the heart of Louisa Bello's novel Where the Shadows End, published by Époque Press. What I loved about Louisa's novel, however, is its commitment to, indeed, presenting a panoply of voices, identities in its inner city suburbs, but also its fierce commitment to exploring the mental health of a troubled man trying to negotiate his way through this community. Louisa herself is a British-Nigerian who was raised in South London, but has lived all over the world. She's led creative workshops for African writers at the British Library and has served as a trustee for the Pelican Post. This novel, however, is her first. It was longlisted for the Pat Kavanagh Prize for Writing Excellence, which was supported also by an arts council grant. Louisa Bello, thank you very much for joining me on Rippling Pages.
Hello, thank you for the invite. It's very nice to be here.
Well, you have lived in a lot of different places. Where?
Yeah.
Ecuador?
Yeah.
Tell me,
I
where
lived
was your
in
favourite?
adored Ecuador. I was there for 2 years. I lived in Quito and then Guayaquil, which is down in
Wow.
the south.
Wait,
Yeah.
what were you doing? Teaching? I was travelling, or
Teaching English, traveling and enjoying the world, learning about
wow.
humans. Yeah.
What was it about Ecuador that? What was? I've never been to
Oh,
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Well, I think it was the stunning landscapes. I mean,
Oh wow.
from the mountains to the rainforests and the beaches where the rainforest meet the beach. The people as well. I don't know. It's a very different,
Yeah.
slower way of life.
Well, either way, I mean, you've obviously a worldly look on the world, and that obviously plays into the novel, and we're going to get into that
Yeah,
very
sure.
soon.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining me. But before we get going, if you're listening, please, if you enjoy the Ripping Pages, or well, if you enjoy this episode, if you enjoy any other episode of the Ripping Pages, why not leave a 5-star review on your favourite podcast provider? It really does help. It helps me, it helps the writers, it helps everyone. So it helps you get in touch with the show. Yeah, do it. Why not?
Do it,
Why not
please.
do it?
Why not?
Yeah. And but yeah, should we get into it?
Yeah.
Louisa?
Yeah.
So that story about it came from very real personal, experience and personal
Yeah.
relationship, and that was the germination of this novel about
Yeah.
Sam, who is, well, you don't diagnose him with
No,
anything in the book, do
absolutely
you?
not.
But
No diagnosis at all. Because also, number one, I'm not qualified to diagnose or talk, from the medical point of view. That it wasn't. I didn't want to write a novel about that medical experience. There's been lots of novels written about the horrors of voice hearing, or voice hearers, and the whole experience. But I wanted to look at the human, actually.
yes.
A human being who has human experiences, who also happens to be a voice hearer.
When you got the ideas for this novel, then were you abroad?
No, I was in London.
Okay.
I was in London. I decided to do a second degree, and so I did a creative writing degree at Birkbeck. The lecturer was Jonathan Kemp. He's an absolutely amazing writer. Yeah, and so inspiring. And it was a workshop we did. It was a writing exercise. One of my best friends, he has always heard voices. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was, I think, 20. We've been friends since we were 11, and still the best of friends. And so I've been through his life journey with him, and he did a degree actually in sociology, and as part of his degree he was talking about the experiences of, he had to write a dissertation on, I think, the experiences of a black male voice hearer in London. And he said to me, "You've got to watch this documentary called Crazy Wise. It's phenomenal." So I watched the documentary, and my mind was blown, because we're taught in the West that unless you are monetizing your voices, and you're you're a clairvoyant or a tarot reader or a psychic or something like that. Voice hearers are terrorized, they're demonized, and we medicate voices and we suppress voices, and there's so much shame. There's voice hearers are very much stigmatized in our society, and I was just fascinated by it. So I wrote this short story.
Yeah,
And
okay.
from the point of view of a mixed heritage, I can't, I'm not fully black, so I couldn't even begin to understand. There's colorism as a whole different, subject. But I guess he was male because my main inspiration was my best friend, Simon.
Yeah.
So, the story is not based on his life at all. I should say that at all.
Okay.
The voice hearing aspect, he's the inspiration for that. And then the Crazy Wise documentary was sort of, a motivation to.
Talking about some of your experiences abroad, but this is a novel that is set within London, but it's set within this really vibrant, diverse community, this rich community of voices and
Yeah.
nationalities and identities, and not to say conflicts and troubles too,
Mm.
but just tell me why that setting and why this place for this novel.
I was an ESL teacher for a very long time, so I would meet people from all over the world in South London, teaching them English, teaching them about British culture, and it was something that being part of a community like that, you don't even think twice about it. Oh, I didn't. And sadly, the world has changed. The world is changing, but certainly growing up, it was one of the most special aspects of my life to have friends from a multitude of different backgrounds. And yet we're all Londoners. I've got a picture actually of my last day at school when I was 16. And there's like 10 of me and my friends in the photo. And I was just looking at it, it's such a remarkable photo. I had a friend whose family were from Belize, other friends who were from Caribbean islands, other friends that were from Scandinavian countries, then friends of African heritage, friends of Irish heritage, English heritage, and we were all just friends. We all grew up together as Londoners, and now, sadly, forgetting that we have more in common than which divides us. So actually, it took me 10 years to write this novel, but maybe it's come out at quite a pertinent moment in our history, because people need reminding that community can be. You don't even need to share a language to feel part of a community.
Whatever it is, it's quite the place to go. This is my first novel. You've got some, really heavy topics there.
Yeah.
Multiculturalism, mental health, schizophrenia, or voice hearing.
Yeah.
There's a real feel to the experience and to that story itself. When did you realize then this is going to be a bigger piece, and this is going to become
actually, that story was picked for the end of degree anthology, and so published in the Birkbeck short story anthology, and an agent turned up at the end of year party, said that they'd read it and they wanted to support me to expanding it into a novel, and it was quite a big agent, and Wilbur Smith's agent.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Can I get you a drink?
Yeah. So I then worked with her. She was amazing. She was such wonderful support. I had no idea really how to write a novel at that point in time. So I wrote. She helped me to apply for the Arts Council grant. I got 4 months off work so that I could focus, and I wrote the final manuscript. And then she left Tibor Jones, and Tibor Jones, there was nobody else there who was interested, basically. And she But she was amazing. One day I'll thank her for for setting me
Yeah,
on
if you're
this
out there,
journey.
if you're out there,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then so
Ears are burning.
and I just kept trying. I just kept writing and rewriting and finding different readers, and then life happened in between, and I spent a lot of time going out to Calais as a volunteer, working with refugees out in Calais. And I spent a couple of years actually dedicating my long weekends to that. And so
Wow.
that became my priority, and I sort of tucked it away in a laptop drawer, as it were. I rewrote the first 5 chapters for my my dissertation. It got longlisted for the Pat Kavanagh Prize, and then lockdown happened. More life trauma and world trauma, shared trauma, and I put it away for a while. So, and then I moved to Brighton, and 4 years ago, I then started sending it out again to publishers, because I thought, if I can't get an agent, then let's just go directly to publishers, actually. So I did, and I only sent it to a few publishers, but Epoch Press came back and said, "Oh my God, we love it. We would love to work with you on this."
What a! I mean, I've heard of challenges to getting published, but also it's not really that, is it? Because you've had these moments along the where you thought, all right, I'm here now, I'm going to get this published, and then something has happened, and then something else has got in the way, and then so there's always that sense of within each of those interactions. It sounds like every interaction, someone's believed in this at some point.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm so grateful to all of those people. Yeah.
I mean, did you ever lose any sort of faith, or?
I did, but then honestly, my dad he would just tell me about myself. He'd be like, "Look, every lecturer or reader who said, 'Oh my God, this is amazing, publish this, you've got to get this published,' I would take screenshots and say, 'Dad, look,' like I'm a 15-year-old still trying to impress my dad,
Right,
and so he'd seen the journey, he'd watched the journey, and I'd go, 'Oh, Dad, it's just never going to happen.' And he'd be like, 'Don't be ridiculous. Look at all this positive feedback you've had. Look at all these people where they're writers, they're journalists, So I did. And then the moment that Sean Campbell of Epoch Press said, 'We'd love to publish you,' I literally we were in a pub. He invited me to a pub to have a chat, and at the end of this chat, I just looked at him and said, 'Are you my publisher now?' And he was like, 'Yeah.' I said, 'Oh my God, I've got a publisher!'
You're my publisher now.
I know. It's like mad.
I love that. Well, it should. We're here. It's in my hands. It's
I know.
a physical thing. It's a book, but but that's the thing, we talk a lot about writing and getting feedback on the rippling pages, and then there's a lot of people who want to have that same thing as well as that you've got. But I think it's also the thing that you have heard from people in the industry that this is a good book, a good novel, and it deserves to be published. And it shows you the nature of perseverance, but also finding feedback from people, lots of different people, but people. Well, you do need people that know what they're doing.
You know what they're talking about. People who understand the craft, and they are have had their own
and the mechanics
and the mechanics. Yeah, exactly. So,
but congratulations, and it's great, and I love that we got that, because obviously now we're here, we're talking about it. Sam. I mean, I think you've got to tell us then just a little bit more about Sam, and more about what's going on in this book.
He's just human. He's not the most likable of characters. He's not the most, the friendliest of characters. But there's a quality about Sam, that there's vulnerability that hopefully readers will get and understand his journey once his voices lead him on this journey of discovery to find out more about himself. I mean, I think I've been on that journey with him, actually, talking about how I wrote this and who Sam is. I've never had to do that before, because I just wrote Sam. I didn't plan it. There was no planning. There was me sitting at a laptop and writing as Sam, a dual heritage Londoner who doesn't know his the black side of his culture, really doesn't have any culture to speak of. He other than that, he is a Londoner. I guess that's a culture in itself. He's learned how to be quiet. He's learned how to be quiet for a multitude of reasons. His mum, her own challenges and traumas, and those affected Sam, as we all understand. So how many adults do I know that are in therapy right now because of the things that happened to them as a child? It's all of us. And I heard a fantastic comment. I can't remember who it was for. I think it was a psychologist that said, actually, as soon as a baby opens their eyes, that's when their trauma begins. That's when our trauma begins. We are traumatized over and over and over again from birth. Some traumas we learn how to cope with. Some traumas are good for us. Some traumas are, learning curves. We build resilience and all these different things. But other traumas, they change us in negative ways. And Sam, the older he got, the quieter he became, and the more internalized his world became.
I mean, it depends what your idea of trauma is, but I think what you're trying to say is that, this attachment Sam has with his mother is incredibly important to his life, isn't it? And for healthy and unhealthy reasons, it leads him down a path of, he's got to make choices, hasn't he, about his life?
He makes choices. He's forced to face his past, the voices, his unconscious, his subconscious, I should say, whatever you want to call it, has pushed him into the direction of finding the truth. And so finding the truth about who he is, how he grew up, and the truth about his mother's death, ultimately. So that's what he aims to do. But,
it's I mean, the title is it's very young. It's very young in the shadow self and the talking about unconsciousness and things. But I mean, so you've chosen to. How does this then shape Sam's interactions in the community, in the world around him?
So Sam feels alone in this world. I mean, he lives alone in his mother's old house. Probably the only house on the street that isn't, hasn't been split into bed sits and flats and all sorts. So he's got this large Victorian flat on a particular street in South London, and he knows his neighbours, but he doesn't really speak to anyone. That he knows things about them, and they know things about him.
I think what I find interesting is that you've spoken about this idea of there's this particular idea that you have of a community, and these places are. Sam is obviously very vulnerable. He is very troubled. He's carrying. You've explicitly said he's carrying trauma, but there are these. I wonder if there's something within your idea of this novel where you are talking about these heavy themes, but also there is a particular idea that you have about what a community does look like and what it should look like for people. There's a hopeful message in that, I guess, as well.
Yeah, very hopeful, very hopeful. I moved to Brighton on my own with my dog, so I didn't really know anybody here, and I travel on my own. I don't necessarily go with anybody else. So I've always seemed to find that I never really feel lonely, because if I want to pop outside and have a chat, I'll I can do that. But so then that got me to thinking about people who do feel lonely, people who do feel isolated, and that not being able to speak out, not being able to connect. How do they connect? And maybe if people around us as a community, we see those people, maybe we try to connect with them.
Can get anyone, can't there? It can get anyone, can't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go too far away, but
Yeah.
it's thinking about Sam, the library, the cafe, the bookshop, places of communal sharing, places of communal meaning making, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
And for Sam, what is there's an idea within this. You spoke about all the different nationalities, London and as a very diverse city. There's an idea in here about voices, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's an idea in here about language, and you seem to be saying that there is a way for people who speak different languages, whether that, that might not be, Spanish, English, French, or
Yeah,
whatever, just different languages about
yeah,
meaning and meaning making. But there seems to be a way that people can connect.
yes.
Where does Sam sit then within all this? Is he someone that is suffering as a result of what's happening within this community, or is he someone, is Sam?
He's survived because of his
Okay,
community. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Sam has survived because of the community he didn't realize that he was, you know, he had or he was a part of. So
it could have been a lot worse for Sam at the start of
absolutely,
this novel. Yeah,
absolutely, as it is for for many people
yeah.
who don't realize that, and for many people who don't feel that they have that, and feel so cut off and so isolated that they don't feel they
Mm.
can connect with people.
Thing is about this, so the novel's filtered through Sam's consciousness,
Mm.
and Sam, you've got a real balance in that, haven't you? Because Sam knows some of this. Sam does know what is. Sam is aware of some of this, isn't he?
He's aware of some of it, yeah, but he doesn't trust it. He doesn't.
Okay.
He's very fearful, and he he goes to these places out of necessity,
Yeah.
and through through that necessity and the repetition of the visiting these places, he has naturally met people and been able to allow certain people into his world.
Mm.
But he's distrustful of Mr. Berham
Yeah.
in the shop, and even going into the bookshop, he's known these people for years. He's like distrustful of that, and paranoia is actually a symptom of voice hearers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, you
And there's a little bit of that that's projected onto the reader as well by
mm,
being so intimate with Sam.
and I think that's what makes him such an unreliable narrator. But then
Mm.
that's also what makes it hopefully interesting for the reader, because some people don't get on too well with unreliable narrators. They want to be told, but actually, I'm hoping they can learn with Sam. Not in a patronising
Yeah.
way, but learn about Sam. And through Sam's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, off the record, if anyone's got a problem with unreliable narrators, then this is not the podcast for them. God.
Absolutely.
It's such a yeah. Anyway, but I think it's whatever it is, it's an interesting way of describing someone's reality, and
Yeah.
because this is Sam's reality, isn't it? To
Yeah,
some
it's
extent,
his reality. Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
this is his world.
But there is, Sam hears all these different voices.
Yeah.
I'm not talking, and I'm not talking here about voice. I'm talking here about he hears different languages. He hears different
Yeah.
sounds. The way it's a
Yeah.
very noisy, a
Yeah.
nice kind of noise.
That is a symptom of voice hearing as well, that colours and sounds become more present, more alive, louder, and your senses actually are heightened, because you're always on edge, as it were, as a voice hearer. So I went to a couple of hearing voices sessions. Actually, there are meetings that take place sort of internationally, the Hearing Voices Network, and it was just fascinating to meet such an eclectic, diverse mix of people. So I went with a family member who also hears voices. I have a couple of people, three people in my family, actually, four people in my family, extended family, who are voice hearers. And I went with one family member to one of the meetings, and there was a woman there who isn't on any medication. Her main voice is a positive voice. It's external. It's not an internal voice, but it champions her to do great things in life. But then she does have some negative voices as well. She's not on medication. She has a full-time job. And then I just started looking into it. And actually, there are some famous people or creative people, claim to be, or not claim, but say they are voice hearers. Certainly, Virginia Woolf was a voice hearer. Sylvia Plath was a voice hearer. Anthony Hopkins is
Oh wow!
a voice hearer as well. Yeah, according to the
And
internet.
what are we talking here when we're talking about voice hearing? People might associate this immediately with schizophrenia, but this is not. I
No.
think there's something a bit wider than this, isn't it? That
It
a
is,
broader
and
idea.
that's something that we don't ever discuss in society. You think voice hearer, you immediately think, but actually there are, voice hearers across the world, voice hearers who hear a multitude of voices, but also have visual hallucinations as well, or a mix of the two. Then, for example, in Nigeria, the Orisha. People believe that voice hearers connect with the ancients, with their pass messages down, protect them. They inspire them. All sorts of wonderful things that help you through life. Yeah.
I mean, how much work did you have to do to make sure that your depiction was
a lot,
compassionate, fair,
absolutely a lot, and I made sure that the voice hearers in my life, they were some of my biggest, first readers.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I went to the Hearing Voices networks. I did a lot of research online, but it was talking to people about their lived experiences. And that's why I stay away from the medicalization of it. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're in Sam's head. We're in Sam's world. In writing that, so obviously because it's a balance, isn't it? Because you want to give the sense of. I mean, I guess if you are being faithful to this idea of someone hearing voices, surely there is an element of these have got to be quite seamless and indistinguishable from
the
singular experience.
Yeah, and that's how it was at understandable and readable.
Yeah.
And a readable experience. So I did want some of the voices to be characters to Sam, not just an indistinguishable anonymous voice.
You mentioned Boatwoman there, didn't you? And what other names do you give to some of these
so we've got Boatwoman, we've got Rosa, we have, who else do we have? Oh my goodness. Oh, Bird Boy. We have Bird Boy as well. Bird Boy. I love Bird Boy. Very proud of Bird Boy.
And they all play a different role, and it creates a sense of the book feels it's full. It's full of, for someone who's very lonely, and this is a novel about, as you've alluded to, loneliness. If a book feels full,
that's amazing.
Bursting at the seams.
That's like London. London is bursting at the seams, and my
in
life.
A nice way. In
a nice way. I should say, in a very nice way. And you know that diversity and the vibrancy, of London. It's wonderful. It makes life exciting and different and varied every day. So it's and if we did tune in, I did a lot of tuning in myself to sounds and language and listening to people speaking their own languages and breaking into English. I love that. I polyglots and language linguists are just amazing.
Okay, so we're going to have a quick break on the Rippling Pages. Do come back. We're going to talk more about Sam, about Where the Shadows, and some lovely ideas about multicultural London, I'm sure. Okay, did you know that there is a Rippling Pages Patreon for a small monthly fee? And it is a very small, there's 2 monthly fees now, one's smaller than the other. And for either tier, you get exclusive member benefits. So this includes and can include Rippling Pages merchandise, exclusive podcasts for Patreon subscribers, and guest reveals of new guests before anyone else in the world knows about them. You also get a shout out on the show. So check out the link in the show notes. Go check it out, and obviously all funds go back into the Rippling Pages and help us grow the show. Okay, let's get back into it. Let's get back to Where the Shadows End with Louisa Bello. Welcome back.
Hello,
Welcome back
yes.
To this How was your break? Was it okay?
It was lovely. I chased a fly around the living room.
There is a really... You speak very hopefully, and we have spoken about this idea of, you mentioned Bernardine Evaristo, and your book is prefaced with other writers. Well, I mean, on Bernardine Evaristo, and there is just, she's a London writer.
Yeah,
our books are set in London, and a memoir is very, very honest about the experiences of moving around London and the people she met and shaping her work as an artist.
Absolutely.
And there is something within this about there's a positive message within all this. Of course there is,
Mm.
but there is an idea here that you are trying to say about London and enjoying those London. I mean, I think about like Zadie Smith's novel White Teeth.
Yeah.
That was sort of set in the suburbs of
Yeah.
London, and it
North
had this
London. Yeah.
at its heart. Yeah, at North London, at its heart, it had this, and that was written in a very different era and a very different time, which feels very far away. But it
Mm.
had at its heart, as much as it talks about racism, as
Mm.
much as it talks about prejudice, there is a really, I guess the question is actually, how do you veer then from becoming, I guess you don't want to dismiss some of these challenges that we do face
No,
and that
I,
Londoners, Londoners do face
I want to
in
highlight all of it,
yeah.
because it all creates, the experience of being a Londoner. There's highs and lows, there's good and bad, there's shadows and lightness, and there's a lot of truth in the shadows. We won't get too philosophical or Jungian, as you said.
I mean, you can if you want to,
But there's this the idea that there's a truth that we shove things under carpets and in cupboards, and we lock things away. But actually, the reason that most of us are in therapy is to bring those things out of the darkness, out of the shadows, to find truth. As truth will set you free, as someone once said. And I think that's in London. I don't know, in our communities. My parents' generation, for example, you don't talk about your family business outside the house. You would never get my mum or my dad to a therapist. It just doesn't happen. And I guess that's across all cultures, really. It's just their generation. But actually, we all go through and suffer trauma, and that road towards happiness, I guess, is to talk about things and is to highlight things. So, yeah.
I mean, on the subject of that, and Sam has some pretty graphic thoughts, violent thoughts about his mother. How difficult then was it to write those, and especially in the context of what you've just said, and how much you revere Sam as well?
He is such a survivor. Everything that he experiences, those thoughts he has about his mother, he's trapped between. He loves her. That's why but he needed her, and he hated her at the same time. It's the same with her, but it's the trauma creates those emotions and those feelings. And we've all said I want to kill you in an argument, or someone's peed us off and we've thought terrible things about them. We don't mean it. That's not our true feelings, our true thoughts. Sam's human. He thinks and feels those things too, but he doesn't. He loved his mum. He wanted her to love him too much. She did love him in her own way, but she was severely traumatized as well. And you'll find out why in my my next novel, which I've
right, okay,
started planning. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the next. So you've not left this story behind, then you can't.
No, my new novel is Sam's parents, because there's so much to they, and it's set in 1970s London, during the whole Rock Against Racism movement. It was just it's unbelievable, amazing. So pre-internet, phones. Somehow 100,000 anti-racists from across the country congregated, got to London on the same day in Victoria Park, and they had this huge festival, and they chased the Nazis out of London. And that's people from all walks of life, people from all backgrounds, who were vocally anti-racist. And for 1978, getting 100,000 people down, is such a magnificent thing. So that's where Sam's parents actually met.
Right. Okay.
They met during that 1978. The 1976 they met, but so you'll find out why his mother's so traumatized.
I mean, did you always know that? Because there's a lot left off the page, isn't there?
Yeah.
Did you always know this about her?
Yeah. I know that, the whole history.
Okay. But obviously we don't do it. We don't as readers.
No, you don't at all.
So do you come back to that? Do you worry then do you worry how people might take Sam if he's saying some of these things about his mother?
No, I think they might understand him even. Yeah, Oh, you mean saying this now?
Yeah.
I see. Oh, actually, that's a good point. I don't know. What do you think?
I guess what you're trying to say is that it's because there's a lot, there's rage in sound, there's
Yeah,
anger, and
yeah,
but I guess what you're saying, this is the reality of when we don't have a full picture of somebody.
yeah, and multi-generational trauma
Yeah.
that's passed down from parent to child. You know, there's, I mean, I've experienced it. And so many of my friends have. The reason
Mm.
we are who we are is because of the good and bad of of our parents' experiences. But we forget that because we don't see our parents as fully fledged human beings because they're mum and dad.
Mm.
And then, they can't have lives. They can't have these, but they have their own experiences and their own traumas, and which create their identities.
Mm.
And then they have children, and pass, naturally some of that will be passed on, or their parenting skills, their parenting style is going to be molded by their own,
Mm.
their own experiences. So of parenting, of life.
It's interesting because it's how do I mean? Well, when did you had this idea about your friend and depicting this short story
Mm,
quite a while ago now?
yeah,
Did you always have these? Was that a process of learning for you about some of these multi-generational trauma?
yeah.
Was that something you learnt about within your life or within?
This is something that my friends and I talk about on a daily basis. I mean, every single person I know has had therapy or is in therapy to deal with
Okay.
their upbringings. I don't know. Maybe it's a London thing. I don't know. But there's this whole thing about speaking to the child within as well. And,
Yeah.
the let them theory, Mel Robbins, and therapy is
Mm.
huge. And why do we go to therapy? By life in many, many, many ways. And I've always, known that. That's not something that, I've always been aware that some of the things that I do are a result of experiences I've had growing
Yeah.
up. I mean, my childhood was lovely, but, it was, you know, my mum and dad broke up when I was 11. So
Oh.
that affected me, without me knowing it was affecting me, it affected me. And
Mm.
then it's only when you get to adulthood that you got to go, that's why I feel like that.
Mm.
That's why I react like that. That's why I do that. And it all comes down to the things that you experience as children.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but there are those then that won't have those opportunities to do that journey, will they?
Yeah. And you see them all the time. The people who are unable to cope with the experiences that they've had in life. The world is full of them.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I think but either way, we are all people that have childhoods. It shapes us one way or another. Some people do have really troubling childhoods, some
Yeah.
really, really,
Yeah.
devastating childhoods and
Yeah.
experiences, um, and I guess it's sad for those who don't get the support that they need
Yeah.
when they really do need it.
Yeah. Absolutely. This conversing now, I'm learning from you, and
Mm.
I'm learning from myself as I'm speaking. I'm thinking, oh wow, Lou, that makes this really good to vocalize your feelings and experiences.
Definitely,
It's
yeah.
it's healthy to do that.
Mm.
So yeah, and it's those people who are unable to, who aren't taught how to express themselves, who feel voiceless for a great many reasons. It's those people that my heart goes out to, and
Mm.
they're often the most vulnerable people in
Yeah.
society. Hence Sam.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair play to you for choosing Sam and trying to represent him in a fair and we can put labels on people, we can
Yeah.
give people, but I think it's more sometimes just about representing experiences
Yes.
for
Exactly.
what they
For
are, and
what
I
they
think
are.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm more interested in. I think
Yeah.
that's what makes novels and reading more interesting when we are just more interested in depicting people and
The
not going
humanity of
in,
a character.
yeah, and not
Yeah.
going in with a particular idea or a
Yeah.
label to
That's
say this is.
that's that's what I was trying to achieve. So it's good to hear.
Well, you've given us a clues to the next project. How far along is that?
I've just submitted an application to the Arts Council. Let's hope that they want to
Okay.
support it. I've been speaking to Sid Shelton and Roger Huddle, who
Okay.
both are the co-founders of the Rock Against Racism movement. actually,
Brilliant.
in the 70s. In fact, Sid Shelton has his photos will be exhibited at the Victoria and Albert Museum in September.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so his photos of that time period are absolutely phenomenal.
Brilliant.
The anti-racist, the anti-Nazi League of the 70s was such a grassroots, community-based political, movement. Everybody from all walks of life were, committed to fighting the Nazis and Enoch Powell's whole rivers
Yeah.
rubbish, so it was such an unvoiced period of time. And so hopefully I can do it some justice with my next novel.
Brilliant. How exciting. Well, I mean, there's a few Rippling Pages references in the V&A now. I think one of my previous Deep Red Paris, she, in reference to she set her novel in Tibet and Nepal, and when the Victorian explorers were trying to get into map Tibet, and she found some of the artifacts that informed the novel. And Alice Hattrick, who spoke about the Morris family, I think some of the arts and craft movements in the V&A. So
brilliant, love
brilliant.
V&A. It's my favourite.
Yeah. So this is brilliant. Well, let's hope we see that soon. And, I look forward to hearing more about Sam. And congratulations on it.
Thank you.
It is tricky, brave subject matter, and we'd all do well to read it, wouldn't we? For sure.
Oh, thank you so much.
Louisa Bello, Where the Shadows End, published by Epoch Press, is out now. Go and buy it, go learn about Sam, go spend some time with Sam, and it does make you think about your own subjectivity and your own place in the world, doesn't it? And your own experiences, and it's richer for it, but also a very hopeful message attached to it.
Amazing
as well.
Thank you so much.
And it makes me, I can't wait to get back down to London and treat for what it is. And that's the beauty of good, novels as well, isn't it? They refocus our lens, don't they? A little bit, and liven up the world for sure. Otherwise, Louisa, it's been my pleasure to have you on the Rippling Pages.
It's been my pleasure. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. You're so easy to chat with. It's been lovely.
Good.
Thank you.
And likewise, but it's your novel it's out now, so go and buy it.
Amazing.
Not you don't have to buy it.
I don't have to buy it. No, you should all buy it. Please.
Buy
lots. Come on.
Buy a few copies.
Buy a few copies of Peasants. Yeah, just get it out there.
This podcast is impartial, but just go out and buy loads of these books.